toss your makeup, throw it out. More than likely, you have had those lipsticks for years, those eye pencils for years, all the things. Toss it out. Change is good. And you walk into a room and people are like, wow, girl, what have you been doing?
At-home lasers, there's red light masks, there's microneedling at home. Like, what are the things that we should have in our toolkit?
Like, I refuse to do ab workouts. And so I'll just put those on my abs twice a week.
Oh my God. Okay. That's a new cheat code. I'm down for that. I'll be calling that company next.
I always tell everyone once a year, mandatory movie watching is Yes Man, because how often are you saying no to things?
The ideal kind of midlife skincare routine, like morning and night, what are your non-negotiables and like what order would you put things in?
No one has any secret access to anything. Menopause is just aging. So you want all the collagen boosting things, all the firming things. You want all the moisturization things. This is the core message behind Renée Rouleau is if you don't know your skin type, are you even getting results?
If you've looked in the mirror lately and thought, what is going on with my skin? This episode is for you. Celebrity esthetician and skincare pioneer Renée Rouleau joins me today to decode what's actually happening to our skin in midlife and how we can treat it smarter, not harder. From collagen loss to jawline sag to trendy new buzzwords like exosomes, NAD, and skin flooding, we're diving deep into the ingredients, treatments, and routines that really work. And because Renee's also in her 50s, she's walking this path right alongside us with the receipts to back it up. Renée, welcome to the Iconic Midlife. How are you today?
Roxy!
So excited to reconnect. How's it going?
It's going great. I'm here at my home office in Austin and the weather's beautiful. We're about to have a little cool down, which is going to be nice. And yeah, it's great here. I love Austin.
Are you like fully Texan now? Have you let go of all the Massachusetts roots and like taken on Texas?
I've been here for 29 years, so I kind of feel like it. Fun fact, me and Roxy's husband went to high school together.
That's correct.
In Boston.
That is correct. And look at you two now.
I know, right? We're the only ones like practically that made it out.
Right? I know.
Not entirely, but yeah.
You know, it's funny you say that because I also look back at like my growing up in Dallas, which is a big city as well. But a lot of people stayed back, like kind of in the bubble. So it's interesting to see like who actually migrates out and then who stays in,
Yeah. And all the people who stayed in wishes they would have migrated out. I read an article once, and that's actually why I'm in Austin. It was 11 years ago, and me and my now late husband, we were, living in Dallas, and I had lived there for 19 years. And I read an article, we can maybe link it in the show notes because it's so good. And it said, staying is settling, why you need to move 5 times in your life. And I read this article and I was like, oh my gosh, I moved a ton as a child, but it's referring to like as an adult, right? The idea is like get out of your comfort zone, et cetera. And I realized I had only moved once as an adult, which was from Boston to Dallas. And so I showed my husband this and I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. It was just like super inspiring. And he was French and he's actually lived a million places. So he's already done 5 times, but we ended up moving to Austin 6 months later because of that article.
Wow. It's like you made the decision. Like you were like, this is happening.
Well, yeah, because the article was so inspiring. And so actually it was a friend's husband that posted it on Facebook. And I ended up reaching out to him and I said, I want to let you know that I'm moving to Austin because of that article that you posted.
Oh, wow. He must have been like, that's cool.
I know, right?
Changing people's lives over here.
And I've shared, exactly. And I've shared this like on social throughout the years and other people have told me they moved because of it.
Wow. That's really interesting. You kind of get that itch, like...
Well, the idea is you just like, think about like when you travel, right? When you travel, you go someplace new and all of a sudden like your eyes just like open wide and you're like, everything's just so new. It's not when you see the same thing every day, it's like, you don't see the beauty in anything anymore, and part of feeling, they say the comfort zone is where dreams go to die. And so when you're in someplace new, it brings out new sides of your personality. It brings out adventure and excitement. And yeah, it's like you feel young and youthful again.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and speaking of like, change and kind of uprooting, I feel like in midlife too, women are kind of getting this itch, where they're like, I need to make a change. I need to do something different. So I think it's really interesting that you like took that step and actually made it happen because a lot of women actually feel stuck and they feel like they can't move even though they want to,
Right.
So like
Right. Right.
was that ever like, did you ever have like any of that stickiness where you're like, maybe I shouldn't, like, or was it just like,
Well, I mean, when I lived in Dallas, my company was based in
mhm,
Dallas, and I had two skincare spas there. We shut them down right before COVID, but I just thought I was going to be there forever. And I moved when I say I moved a lot, from kindergarten to my senior year in high school, I was in 7 different schools. I moved every 2 to 3 years. I lived in Minnesota 3 times, went to like 6 different schools there. Boston, I lived in Boston twice. We lived there from 5th to 8th grade, moved away, and I came back end of my sophomore year. And so yeah, I was like, okay, well, even though I moved so much growing up, I was like, well, this is kind of home now. And I was getting the itch to kind of like, really, is this all there is? Like, and even though I love Dallas, but I just was so used to change and I always loved change. And so when I read the article, I was like, God, this is so inspiring. And it was my husband that said, let's move. And I was like, baby, we can't. Like, the company's based here. He's like, why not? And so when you really say why not, like, yeah, anything's figure it outable. So yeah.
and talk about figuring things out. My God, look at your career. I mean, you really figured things out. Like coming coming from Boston, going to Texas, becoming this like huge skincare guru. I mean, that in and of itself is such an accomplishment. I feel like you also like
Thank
hit it
you.
sure. I feel like you also hit it at the right time too. Like it kind of was like the perfect storm of like all the factors, like your skill, your knowledge, like your passion, but also the timing of everything.
Yeah, I still consider myself an indie brand, but back when I started, we just celebrated 29 years of Renee Rouleau skincare. Like 29 years. I was 26 years old, moved to Dallas all by myself, started a skincare spa there, didn't know one person in Dallas. But I had a mad crush on Troy Aikman and he was there and I was like, if I'm going to marry him, then this is where I need to be. And that's just how that worked. And then years later, he became my client, which is really funny. And now we're friends. But anyway, yeah, it's a whole long story. Actually, Texas Monthly just did a story on it. And the headline was like something about like, I came for the Super Bowl ring or something. Anyway, but yeah, I was an indie brand and, you know, people really love a good indie brand, right? There's like intimacy to it, there's authenticity, and people were craving also like expert advice, right? There's many skincare products. Back in the 80s and 90s or whatever, it was these huge, massive companies that were selling skincare, and people love an expert at the end of the day. And to this day, people love an expert. But it was really challenging in the early years because I'm a product formulator as well and have my own line, and getting brands contract manufacturers to take a chance on you because the minimums were so high. You couldn't just order 500 of a product. It was like, hey, 25,000 per SKU. And I'm like, I have 55 products based on 9 skin types. Like, I couldn't do those big minimums. And I finally found a contract manufacturer that I pleaded with them and they believed in me, and I still do business with them to this day. And now obviously I'm meeting the higher, minimums and whatnot. But so yeah, it's been, at the end of the day, I attribute my success to still being so passionate about what I do. That's it. Like it doesn't always, it doesn't always feel like work. So, and that's the beauty in it.
Was there ever a time when you're like, "Oh, fuck this. Like, I just wanna throw the towel in. Like, I'm, like, over it." Like, were you ever like, have you ever had those thoughts, or was it always just like, "I'm gonna figure it out?"
Never once. And I've always said to myself, like, kind of like when I talk about like living in Dallas for so long, I'm like, wow, I moved so much growing up. Am I really going to be here forever? Yeah, I guess I will. And there's been times when I'm like, is this literally all I'll ever do my whole life is skincare? Because I started at 19, right out of high school. I went right to school to become an esthetician. So it's like all I've ever known. And I said, there's been times when I was just like, is this it? Like, maybe there is another career out there for me. But then I quickly realized, and again, I'm so passionate about it, but I think why I love my career so much is I wear so many different hats, right? If I was just an esthetician and all day long, hands on skin, like I would have gotten bored. And that's why and I probably did get bored because, I quickly started a business in Wellesley, Massachusetts. I had a skincare salon there for 5 years with a business partner. So I started a business at age 21. So I was able to, P&L and supply chain and ordering and inventory and marketing and finance and all the different hats. And, fast forward to today, I mean, let's see, my workday yesterday, what did it include? I had to um, make a decision on we're selling some office furniture because we're moving into a new space and it can't fit. So I'm dealing with like operations and moves. I have to make a decision on like what kind of Wi-Fi plan we're going to go in the new space. I had to make decisions on like we're going to sell our forklift and we have to get a different type of forklift. I can't, like I mean, it's like, it's all the things aren't just skin, but I love it. So I feel like I have the variety of everything. I'm kind of a semi-expert at a lot of things and it's fun. I mean, in business, I mean, just this morning I was on the phone for 90 minutes trying to track down a charge showing up on our bank account that I didn't know what it was. And I have people that can help with this stuff too, but like just I learn a lot.
And that prepares you for life as well, when you're wearing all these hats,
Yeah.
right? And there's been a lot
Yes.
that's gone on. But I
Yeah,
definitely want to start out with some skincare stuff with you because,
of
wow,
course.
you know it all. So tell me if you feel this too. And I don't know if it was like crossing over into my 40s when it first kind of started, but all of a sudden, I felt like the moisture in my body just like disappeared. Like everything got dry. So it's like the skin got dry, the hair got drier, the hormones are like going kind of all over the place. As somebody who also is in midlife, did you also experience like these kinds of things with you, especially with your skin?
Yeah, I've always been an oily skin person, and the so that's I've never been dry skin on my face. So I've always been an oily skin person. I'm much less oily now. So yes, I definitely the oil kind of has stopped, but I'm not that dry. I'm more like if you think like oily then to normal then to dry, if we're going to go in those categories, I'm more like normal, but maybe in winter can be dry, where people who were dry and never had oil, like then then they're really bone dry. Because the reality is, yeah, those, the moisture definitely depletes. And so, yeah, I've definitely noticed on the skin, I mean, on my body more, definitely getting drier. Like I definitely need heavier moisturizers on my body. But yeah, that absolutely happens. I think also, I mean, not I think, but what happens is the collagen loss, right? That is, I'm 56 and definitely the 50s is really when, that's when I feel like really that loss of elasticity really comes into play. That's definitely what's happening. And it's due to hormonal changes and less of that skin plumpness.
Oh my gosh, you know what else, Renee, I've been experiencing? Sometimes I look at my face and I'm like, I'm breaking out like a teenager again. Like I feel like the hormones are like kind of
Yeah. Well, then
raging,
that happens too.
right?
Yeah.
Like, do you see
Yeah,
that? Yeah.
perimenopause and all of course,
Oh
yes,
my
absolutely.
God.
Yeah, and it's more so like more cystic acne. People can kind of get like more stubborn kind of cystic breakouts, more so the ones that come to the surface. That's not to say that people can't get both, but yeah, no, absolutely. We did. I mean, we get a lot of people all of a sudden complaining about adult acne in their 50s. So absolutely. And I feel like adult acne just never goes away. I almost feel like there's more adult acne than there is teen acne because it spans for 3 decades, right? From 20 on, where teens are, it's just like that 13 to 19. So I definitely hear a lot about adult acne for sure.
Yeah, I feel like the hormones are, like, raging too, like, kinda up and down and, like, fluctuating at this time, and it's like, that really comes out on the skin with all these different symptoms, you know? It's like, have you found a way to kind of when you have skin issues, like, that you go to for relief?
So, I mean, I think you always just have to look as what problem are you trying to solve or what problem are you experiencing, right? And, I'm not, there are some menopause skincare lines that cater strictly to that, but to me, that just seems like marketing hype. Like they might have like, I saw a brand have like a cool down spray or something like that, and they put kind of like, menthol or something in it. So when you put it on the skin, it feels like cooling, and that's fine. But like, that's not really like, I mean, that's not getting to the root of hot flashes, right? It's not like it just makes you feel a little better, and that's fine too. But at the end of the day, I mean, regardless whether you're in menopause, perimenopause, whatever, I mean, or perimenopause is kind of in menopause, but regardless, like, it's just all the things that happen with aging, right? So whether your products say specifically meant for menopausal women, it doesn't matter. Like no one has any secret access to anything. I mean, menopause is just aging. So you want all the collagen boosting things, all the firming things, you want all the moisturization things. And, so.
Mhm. I'm glad you're bringing up some ingredients because I kinda wanted to go through some of these with you because they're everywhere all over social media. You know, people are really, like you're saying, they're marketing to women in midlife with, like, some of these ingredients. So, tell me what your take is on some of these. So, the first one is peptides. Do you like peptides?
I do. So peptides are a short chain of amino acids, and they play a really big role in keeping, the skin firm and youthful. They act like little messengers that signal the skin to produce more collagen, is what they do. And there's many different types of them, but they're used in skincare products, and yeah, great in eye creams as well, and neck creams, and but yeah, so regular use of peptides can help with elasticity. And I think that the challenge is we also have to be mindful of expectations of skincare, right? Like, especially when you're dealing with elasticity, you're literally talking about gravity. So, like, it's not that you're going to put a peptide cream on and all of a sudden it's a facelift in a bottle, but we look at everything as helping the greater good. It's doing a slow drip to the skin, and the research is really solid. And so, yeah, I mean, any type of peptide. And again, there's lots of them, but I'm a big fan and I formulate with them all the time.
So, good on peptides. What about exosomes?
hmm So, those are really buzzy right now. And let me talk about, I use the word buzzy. So, having been an esthetician for 37 years now, I have seen so many ingredients come and go. And so, me as a formulator, when I'm creating products, I very much, I go to Suppliers Day, which is a trade show in New York, and it's for raw materials meaning the actual ingredients, right? And when you walk around at Suppliers Day, all just like going to a trade show, there's booths, right? Tables and booths, and they're pitching the flavor of the day, the flavor of the month, or whatever. And so when you walk around there, it's I love going to that show because it tells you what's kind of the latest, but the latest doesn't necessarily mean the greatest, right? And because I mean, I can't tell you how many ingredients I've seen that were supposed to be the greatest and then never to be heard of again or whatever. So me as a formulator, I stay really, I have 2 meetings a week with my chemists, and we're always having conversations. What's the data showing? What's the research showing? And particularly as it relates to exosomes. So it looks promising. They're essentially tiny little messengers that support skin repair and renewal. And they can be sourced, both from animals and in plants. So, it can be a little controversial, especially as it relates to getting them from mammals. But But yeah, but plant-based exosomes are showing promising. But again, I mean, helping with collagen, and they typically they're hard to get into the skin, so it's always about like delivery system. What seems to be the most promising, certainly for getting things into the skin, is if you have it with like a microneedling treatment, more so than in a it's still up for debate, how much it can get into the skin in a product. But yeah, they everything, they're helping with wound healing and skin texture. Um, but if somebody doesn't want to do microneedling to get it in the skin, then they should stick to peptides.
Okay, so peptides over exosomes if you're not going to microneedle.
Correct.
Okay. What about ectoin?
Ectoin. That is for calming. So it's used in a lot of like sensitive skin products. It's naturally produced by microorganisms, and it works by helping shield the skin from stress. Good for hydration, good for skin barrier, which we know skin barrier is certainly a hot topic. But yeah, it's a great. I don't formulate with it, but everything I see about Ectoin looks great.
Okay, what about PDRN? That is like everywhere now, the salmon sperm.
Yes, yes. Yeah, it was very buzzy. I was just the co-host of the Science of Skincare Summit here in Austin, which is a dermatology esthetician conference, and this was certainly a hot topic. So most of the data on this ingredient is shown through injectables and through microneedling. So it's a small DNA strand, and even though it's small, it's too big to penetrate the skin on its own. That's why it needs some sort of penetration support, hence microneedling. So it has similar benefits to peptides, but um, so again, helping with firming and skin's repair processes, promoting growth factor. It's a growth factor, is what it is, but um, it. So yeah, so it's still, people are still playing around with it, and but it also doesn't have to only come from salmon. It can come out of broccoli and roses, or those are more like vegan options. But yeah, so far, I mean, it's buzzy and people are using it. And but like any buzzy ingredient, we'll see if 6 months or a year from now we're still talking about it, right? Like that's really the ultimate litmus test, is if we're still talking about it in a year.
And then what about, which this is not only, I feel like, topical for face, but it's injectable, it's ingestible, is NAD. How can that help us? Yes, with skincare.
Yeah, so I do take it orally in a supplement, but NAD is a an antioxidant that's part of our cellular processes, and as we age, NAD declines, and that's why it's kind of popular with the aging set. Um, and niacinamide is also a great ingredient for increasing cells NAD production. So in topical skincare, niacinamide tends to be more effective, is what I'm finding. But I think for oral, that's how I'm taking it, because that's the research that I'm seeing where it's most effective. And I love niacinamide on the skin, but because niacinamide is really effective for cellular processes as well.
So it's good to take, you could even maybe double up and ingest it, but then also use it in your skincare.
You could. I mean, yeah, it
Okay.
won't hurt absolutely topically, but yeah, I'm seeing more data on taking it orally.
Okay. Now let's move on to some acids, because there's two of them that have really, I feel like, sprung up over the last, year or so that a lot of people are talking about, and that's tranexamic acid and azelaic acid.
Yeah. So they're both very different from one another, but tranexamic acid is how to say it, but it's not an exfoliating acid. So unlike glycolic, lactic, and azelaic, it's not exfoliating the skin. But tranexamic acid, the research shows that when it's a minimum of 2%, I think 2 to 5% is the range, that it helps to stop two pigment producing pathways. The two pigment producing pathways is both inflammation as well as UV exposure, and it's helping to target pigment in the skin. So it was first prescribed orally, and it's still probably the most effective way to get it into your system. But now it's working topically, and the research is just really good on it. And we came out with a product called Hyperfix Fading Toner, which is a twice daily toner for hyperpigmentation, and it's super effective. So for brown spots, melasma, pregnancy, you can use during pregnancy, post breakout marks. It's really good for targeting pigment. It's also for all skin tones and doesn't cause irritation. But yeah, tranexamic acid is amazing. It's a derivative of amino acid lysine. But yeah, love tranexamic acid, and I'm happy, and I love formulating with it, and the feedback's been incredible since we launched that product. Now, azelaic acid, on the other hand, it's not very valuable because it works best at 15%, which is a drug prescription level. So it's mostly for like acne rosacea, pustular rosacea. But it can take a long time to work, and you have to use it at 15%. And for at home, formulators are not using it at 15%. So if you're not getting what the research shows that you need it, that percentage that the research shows, then it's not that effective.
Okay, good to know. And there's also like this thing that's taken over social media, and that's skin flooding, where people are putting product after product on their face, but not letting it dry in between. How do you feel about that? Should we be letting things dry in between, or should we just flood the skin and just let it all soak in?
Yeah, so skin flooding, like you said, is the process of layering multiple hydrating products to maximize hydration. We know that skin cells are like fish and they need water to live, so I'm all about hydration. The problem is that the skin can only absorb so much. And at some point, so think about, I always like to use the analogy of like your kitchen sponge, right? So if you have a dry sponge, and then you put it in the bottom of your sink, and you turn the water on and you flood the sponge. It fills up the sponge, and then when it's maxed out, it just rolls over the top, that water, right? And then you also have to think that if you're putting one serum on, and then when it touches your skin, that's being activated at 100%. And then now all of a sudden you put another serum on, and now it's kind of diluting the other serum, and that one is kind of diluting it. And so they're both kind of diluting one another. And so you're not guaranteed to get the full results of that one serum if it's kind of being mixed and layered on with another one. So my experience tells me every night you choose one serum and let that be the star of the show, the sole focus. So one night, I recommend rotating between 3 serums. So one is a retinol or a prescription retinoid, but something with that vitamin A. The next is a leave-on exfoliating acid serum, and the next is something more nourishing. So for me, that's my Firm and Repair Overnight Serum, which is a peptide serum, more for hydration, and you rotate between the 3, and that way you're getting a little bit of everything, but they're working at full concentration.
Oh, good to know. Okay, so kind of like skin cycling, right? So you're doing like kind of one thing per night? Okay.
That's exactly.
And for those
Yeah.
who don't know what skin cycling is, maybe tell them that as well.
Yes, actually, I was just on stage with Dr. Whitney Bowe. She's a dermatologist. And yeah, so she's the one that really gave it a name. Yeah, at Science of Skin Summit, her and I were on a panel for how to start a skincare line. And because she has her own line as well. But yeah, so she created the name for it. Skin cycling, the concept of rotating serums, like what I told you, I've always recommended that because we know that the skin likes a variety of nutrients. You don't just want one thing all the time, no different than working out, right? You don't want to do the same workout every day. You want to do different things every day, just like eating, right? You don't want to eat the same diet every day. Your body benefits from various nutrients. So the concept of skin cycling is just kind of change it up. And so she put a name to it, and just it's that same idea. So it's just rotate different things, different nights, typically between 3.
Okay. Here's kind of a funny slash controversial one that's been popping up, which I'm sure you probably had to talk about. And that is beef tallow. Beef tallow is all over social media. So, what is your take on beef tallow, putting it on your face, putting it on your skin? What do you think about that?
Yes. So again, a trend. We won't be hearing about this for much longer, but it's having a moment. But beef tallow is a fatty acid, and fatty acids are probably already used in your skincare products now. If you're using any plant oils, if you're using a skin oil that's based on plants, which so many skin oils are, moisturizers use plant oils. So more than likely, you're already getting fatty acids in your routine. So beef tallow, more specifically, it's known for its ability to, really hydrate. And some research is showing that it's helping with like eczema or psoriasis. So that's always really good because those are really tough to deal with. But the research with human subjects is still limited, and um, and it could be pore clogging for people used at full concentration. But essentially, it's a good ingredient, but also you also have to think about like your skin. Like if you're thinking about a moisturizer, which is essentially what this is being used as, if you're just using just beef tallow, you're just getting just that direct fatty acid on the skin. But in a regular moisturizer that's formulated in a lab, you're getting the fatty acids, but then you're getting other benefits too. So, it's I always like to get multiple benefits from a moisturizer, not just putting plant oils on my skin.
Yeah, my inclination, like when I first heard of it, I was thinking, oh my God, that must like clog people's skin because you think like almost like beef fat or something. But is it like is it that consistency, like where it's like the fat, or is it like a thinner consistency?
No, it's a thinner I mean, it's an oil is really what it is. It's more of a feel of an oil. So yeah, that's not for every skin type. So you have to be careful. I mean, you have to be careful anytime you use a fatty acid on the skin.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's build out the ideal kind of midlife skincare routine, like morning and night. What are your non-negotiables and like what order would you put things in?
Yeah. So first of all, my belief as an esthetician, I believe there's 9 types of skin. So, and I really feel like people have lost their way with skin because everyone's following the trends, right? Ooh, I hear about that ingredient. And oh, there's a product that has that in it. And that's all fine and good. But what we need to go back to basics with skincare. And going back to basics is great. I saw something on TikTok that this person loves and everybody seems to be buzzing about, but is it right for me? And that's really why we've lost our way. And so I believe we need to go back to basics, back to the basics, which is skin type. What's my skin type? What do I need? Because even if we talk about midlife products, but again, but there's, sure, we all want you know, to help the signs of aging. So that's kind of universal. But what about, hey, I still get some breakouts? What about I have redness and sensitivity and get easily irritated? What about if I have hyperpigmentation? So there's nuances to skin and what can your skin handle and all of that. So if people go to my website, they can read more about the skin types, but we have a really great skin type quiz, fast and easy, and you get put into one of the 9 skin types. And this is the core message behind Renée Rouleau is if you don't know your skin type, are you even getting results? And that's why, we have 55 products in the line. It's super extensive, but it's curated for one of those 9 skin types. And again, just like what you said, Roxy, like, hey, I'm still getting breakouts. Well, most lines are going to go, oh, okay, you're getting breakouts. We're going to treat your skin like a teenager. And you're like, well, wait, no, like, how can I help with breakouts, but I'm not a teenager. I'm not oily. I can't do that. And brands are like, sorry, take your pick. You're either going to get dry your skin out with acne if you get breakouts, or if you want to do the aging thing, guess what? It's heavy and rich and greasy, and oh well, might clog your pores, right? So that's like the perfect example. So that's why people need to know their skin type, and many of the skin types address breakouts, occasional versus frequent versus whatever. So I mean, I think all the research, really shows an at-home skincare routine for your skin type is best. In the morning, you always want to wash your face. There's some people on TikTok say, "Oh no, don't wash your face in the morning. You don't want to strip it. You already washed it the night before." Well, more than likely at night you used a richer cream for night, and that has oils in it. Well, oil and water don't mix. And so if you still have that cream on for the night before, which you do, that has oils in it, and even though they may be transferred on your pillow, but you still have that coating on the skin. And then now you're asking a toner, which is water soluble. Oftentimes, the vitamin C serums are water soluble. Well, water and oil don't mix. And now your toner and your vitamin C serum may not even be able to penetrate if you have that coating on the skin. So, yes, we never want to dry out the skin. And that's kind of the concept is like, oh, washing it in the morning. Hey, like, cleansers are bad. Like, they dry out your skin. So if you don't have to wash it in the morning, don't do it. Well, how about we use a cleanser that's not drying to the skin, right? And cleansers aren't drying to the skin as long as you get the right formula. I mean, gone are the days of using a bar of soap on the skin. Those were super dry.
Or sea
But
breeze.
if you have exactly. Oh my God, sea breeze. Oh, I can still smell it now. Can't you still smell
It's
the sea
immediate. It's like
breeze?
Pavlov's reaction, right? You just immediately
Exactly.
smell it.
We could not shake our teen years.
I know.
And so yeah, wash in the morning with a really gentle cleanser. That's right for your skin type. And then always follow the golden minute rule, which is 1 minute after cleansing, you immediately get on your next product, ideally a toner. And the reason why you want to get it on within 60 seconds is because when the skin is damp, through a process called osmosis, you'll start to get moisture evaporation, and it pulls water out of the skin. So even if you wash with the gentlest cleanser, if you wait longer than 60 seconds, and especially if you're in a drier environment, the skin will feel tight. It's not feeling tight from the cleanser. It's feeling tight because moisture evaporation has started to occur. So get your next product on. I always recommend a toner, because toners, if you think about in your shower, your glass shower doors, all that white film that gets left, that's salts, chlorines, and minerals that dehydrate the skin. Plus, toners have special active ingredients in it that can also help with performance. So like I mentioned, we have our Hyperfix fading toner, which is really good for hyperpigmentation. Another tool in the hyperpigmentation toolkit is tranexamic acid, and then put on a vitamin C serum. There's lots of conversation, especially at the Science of Skin Summit. Vitamin C, it was a huge topic, but now the gold standard of vitamin C is tetrahexyl decyl ascorbate. For many, many years, it was ascorbic acid. Dr. Pinnell, who was based out of Dallas. Did you know back when SkinCeuticals was founded in Dallas?
Oh, I didn't know it was founded in Dallas, though.
Yeah. So I remember I was friends with Dr. Pinnell's son, but he was the one who basically invented vitamin C.
Oh.
But it started out at Dallas, and then SkinCeuticals was bought by L'Oreal. But yeah, so our little city of Dallas, vitamin C topically was invented out of Dallas.
Oh, that is fascinating.
But he's the one that patented kind of ascorbic acid. But now we know that ascorbic acid is just too irritating for the skin, because it is in fact an acid. And using every morning on the skin, when it stings, people get a vitamin C acid burn. And the way that people are using retinol and retinoids now, our barriers are more sensitive. So now what's THD ascorbate, which is something I've been using for years, but it's no sting, no irritation, and it's stable. It doesn't turn dark in the bottle, so you don't ever have to worry about a stability issue. So choose your vitamin C serum wisely. And then And then, of course, sunscreen. I like using a sunscreen with a moisturizer in it. I have one of my line that I love using, but I don't like to moisturize and then sunscreen. And I think that's a big mistake that people do, because if you moisturize and then now you're putting on a sunscreen, depending on the formula of the sunscreen, but it may not be able to really coat the skin cells very well because you already have kind of like that layer there. So a moisturizer with a sunscreen, have it a 2-in-1 and call it a day, and then put your makeup on.
Oh, that's a good point. Okay. So that's like, we'll take you into day and then at night, because I know we hear this. I mean, like, obviously retinols and like the heavier creams. And are we still doing a toner? And like, are people overusing retinols and retinoids and like,
Yes, at night if you've worn makeup, but even if maybe you have a heavier sunscreen you're wearing or something, ideally you want to use a cleansing lotion, or something that has a little bit of oil in it to remove makeup. I hate cleansing balms and I hate cleansing oils. So plug for me, I created a product called Better Than Balm because I wanted to create something better. And it won 5 awards, including Allure Best of Beauty for best balm. But the point is that you have to be careful if you're using cleansing balms or cleansing oils, because even though those do an excellent job at breaking down oils in your makeup and sunscreen, if you don't do a proper double cleanse, then some of that residue is left behind, and then your serums and things can't penetrate. So anyway, but makeup removal, and then use a toner, always alcohol free. And then, as I mentioned before, rotate between 3 serums, a retinol, a leave-on exfoliating acid, and maybe a peptide or something nourishing. And so if you rotate one night, one another night, the third one another night, and then repeat, you're getting all of them on the skin about, two nights a week. Now, if depending on the skin type, but somebody could, if they're more aging and they want to hit aging harder because maybe they're late to the retinol game, they can use a retinol more so maybe 4 nights a week. So they can dial that one up a little bit more. So dial up, dial down, depending on your skin type, and then put a moisturizer on and go to bed and get your beauty sleep.
beauty sleep, very important. Water, very important
Yes,
too,
yes,
right? I mean, like
that too, of course.
internally, we have to do all these things as well and let our body recover.
Where water comes into play is not for hydrating the skin. That's, a myth. Drinking water is the least efficient way to hydrate water. But where it comes into play, and this is especially important midlife, is with skin puffiness, right? If the skin gets puffy as we get older, we're very sensitive to sodium as we get older. We have more puffiness under the eyes with water retention. So if you drink a ton of water, and then also keep your salt intake low, but water for sure helps with making you wake up less puffy in the morning.
Because it just kind of flushes everything out. Is that like kind of the sign? Okay.
Yeah. So if I have a photo shoot or I'll be on camera, I will drink so much water during the day, and then really barely have any salt. And like the next morning, I have like no puffiness under my eyes or anything.
Oh, that's a good tip, because you think you're hydrating yourself by drinking the water, but it's actually helping with something else.
Yeah, it's for puffiness. Yeah.
And is there any ingredient that you think, especially women in midlife, that should not use? Like something that is just like, don't need it, ladies.
No, I can't think of like an ingredient per se, but I mean, I think it's just, you know, listen to your skin. I think a lot of people, what happens with a lot of people also, they become creature of habits with their products. And I think it's good to change up products, not because your skin gets used to things, because that's actually a myth. Your skin doesn't have any receptors that make your skin get used to it. But I think it's important to change your routine and, reassess, talk with an esthetician or a skincare professional, and make sure you're getting what you need. And if your skin is changing at any point, like, wow, like I'm starting to get these breakouts now, in my 40s or whatever, then again, that's a sign. If your skin is changing, that's a sign that you need to change your routine. Your skin type might be changing a little bit and you need to reassess.
Okay. And what about like at home treatments? Because, there's just this huge crop of like at home lasers, there's red light masks, there's microneedling at home. Like, what are the things that we should have in our toolkit?
Yeah. The two that really I like the most that I think is the data points to that there's legitimacy behind it. One is red light therapy, and so I think that can be worthwhile. And then also microcurrent, so kind of like New Face. I'm a big fan of New Face, and I I've been doing microcurrent for I mean, since early in my career, and it's like doing sit-ups for your face, and I think when strategically used, it can help. So think about, like, we know that with gravity and age, the skin's just going south, right? And we don't have that underlying cushion in the skin to keep everything kind of supported. But we can control our muscles, right? So especially if you stimulate the muscles of the cheek and they become a little more pronounced, kind of like filler, but if you stimulate those muscles, then the skin kind of hangs on it more. It's like it's more supported. Whereas if the muscles are atrophy and there's nothing going on, then everything just goes south. So it's kind of like it brings kind of that inner volume that people typically reach for fillers to do.
So that's interesting. And do you have to use it for like a certain amount of time before you feel like you see the results?
Exactly. I mean, it's like sit-ups, right? The minute you stop doing it, it goes away. And the only reason why I know microcurrent works so well is because the founder of New Face, her name is Tara, but her mother created a device for estheticians to use back in the day. And I used to actually treat people with Bell's palsy. Are you familiar, Roxy, with Bell's palsy? Right? When people lose all that muscle on one side of the face. And I used to use her mother's machine to rehab Bell's palsy people to try to get their muscles to rehab faster. And I had a doctor that was referring all these people to me because he couldn't believe how quickly the skin bounced back to life on the other side, on that side. And then years later, Tara got into the picture and they created a home care device. But yeah, so I've basically, I've been around New Face, that brand, for a long, long time and seen the results.
Oh, that's good to know. Okay. Buying a new face. And what about in office treatments
And in
for?
fact, actually, since I'm in my home office right now, I am such a fan of it's called electrical muscle stimulation,
Oh,
that I will show you.
yes.
Can you see this right here? So I have a device. It's an Austin-based company, but it has these pads and cords and all of that. And when I do my workouts up here in my home office, I put these pads on my muscles, and it makes my workouts so much better when I lift weights because it's stimulating the muscles much deeper than you can just get on your own. So I am a super fan of electrical muscle stimulation. So again, microcurrent, New Face is a device, but this happens to be one for the body.
Oh, that's genius. So you can use it like, for your
Okay, well,
workouts. You could.
actually, so here's the right, not working out. So here's the funny thing. Normally, if I'm at home, because today I'm not in the office because I wanted kind of quiet because we were doing this, but I thought to myself, oh, I need to get it on my abs. And so normally what I do is I'll stand up. Right now I'm sitting down, but I'll stand at my stand up desk. And while I'm working, I'll have the pads on my abs just while I'm working, and I never have to work out, and I have great abs. And so I thought to myself, I was like, oh, when I'm on this podcast with Roxy, I was like, oh, she won't notice. But I was like, no, Renee, don't be distracted having them on your abs.
Oh my God. You had
So
me.
yeah, it's a total cheat code.
Oh my God, wait, you had me at like not working out and having the best abs because that is like, I feel like my
Exactly.
target area that I always want to get to, you know?
Exactly. And I do no sit-ups because they hurt so much. It's
Yeah.
literally like throwing like a burning fire on your abs doing, and I refuse to do ab workouts. And so I'll just put those on my abs twice a week.
Oh my God. Okay, that's a new cheat code. I'm down for that. Like, I'll be calling that company next.
I know, right? Oh
Seriously.
my God.
Oh my
No,
God.
it's
Okay.
amazing.
Good to know. What about when we're going in office? Like, what treatments do you think are good for when we're with our esthetician? Getting like, what do you think are the best of those?
I mean, it's hard to say the best because it really depends on like what someone's skin needs. But Um, I think the Moxie and the Halo lasers are really good if you want to do more of a med spa type treatment. I think, there's kind of minimal downtime. Well, with the Moxie for sure, but I think they're really good for texture and kind of brightening and a little pick me up. And also, like, I think of lasers as like anytime that you do something on your skin where you have puffiness and redness and all of that, you're essentially injuring the skin. And an injury is good because it kind of, if it could, injury is basically saying to your skin, like, hey, don't fall asleep on me. Like, you still got a job to do. You still got all these processes and things like that. So I think, and that's why, like, retinol and retinoids are good because, yes, there's side effects, especially with the prescriptions, which is drying and irritation. But again, that's that kind of little like wake up you need to like make sure the skin doesn't slow down. I think for pigmentation, I mean, photofacial, something called V-beam for redness. I mean, those are really effective. Um, I think, speaking of midlife, I think at some point though, you can only do so much Botox and so much fillers to kind of, hold it all together. And I do think cosmetic surgery at some point, like there's just, that if you're really wanting to get that taut neck and that tightness, like skincare products and fillers and lasers and all the things, like, they've kind of run their course, especially once you're getting, mid to late 40s is, I mean, that's why when you see people um, in their 50s, like really looking strange, a lot of times it's because they're overfilled and they haven't done cosmetic surgery and their face is just so full. And so anyway, but yeah, at some point, you know, you have to go under the knife if that's, I mean, if that's your prerogative.
Yeah, and I'm glad like more people are talking about that now because it shouldn't be shameful. Like if you want to
Yeah.
do that, do that. If you don't, right? And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
think, and we're seeing a really great crop of like facelifts and like facial surgery happening right now,
Right.
right?
Yeah. Hey, Chris Jenner.
Yeah.
But I have a tip. But I have a trick. I learned this one time. I wrote a blog post on it once. So, I mean, no one wants to ever like. I mean, yes, when people publicly say, "Hey, I went under the knife," and they post all over social or whatever, like we love that, right? Because there needs to be we need to normalize it that way. But I have years ago when I lived in Boston, my former business partner, he wanted to color his hair. And, up in Boston, he was at the time, he was in his 40s. And it's like, like he knew people would give him crap about like coloring his hair or something, his buddies. So what he did was he grew a beard and he grew a beard over the course of like 2 months. And he leaves the office on Friday. He shaves off the beard and colors his hair. And he goes to work on Monday, and people are like, oh, wait, oh, you shaved your beard off. And everyone was so he created a change, but everyone was so distracted with him shaving his beard off that they didn't even notice he colored his hair, right? They didn't even notice the gray were gone. So I share that to say that it's about distracting people's eyes. So if somebody wants to have a cosmetic procedure and they're worried that, people are going to notice, your cosmetic procedure and then change your hairstyle. Get bangs, go from blonde to red, or do something. So when people go, wait, something looks different. And you're like, I'm a redhead now, or I cut bangs, or so it's just a way of like adding another change. And people are like, oh my God, or something looks different. You look good. And you're like, oh, it's just my hair color. I went red. Meanwhile, I went under the knife.
Yeah. It's like $100,000 later, but I'm glad you're noticing the
Exactly.
hair.
Exactly, right? I'll recommend my hairstylist. Yeah, so
Totally.
that's just kind of a fun little thing if you ever just want to throw people off and not have people be like, "Did you get work done?"
Yes. Oh my God, that's such a good
So,
tip. That's a really good tip. Okay.
yeah. But I will say the one, people get scared about going under the knife but the one surgery that I've seen that is so minimally invasive, but makes a world of difference is removal of under eye bags.
Yeah, bluff,
Like,
right?
yes, a lower, but a lower one. I always tell my clients that have like bags under it because you look tired. Like genetically, some people are just prone. Luckily I'm not that way, but a lot of people just have the bags, and you can put all the tightening eye products in the world. Sorry, that's not going to make it go away. But the procedure. So had so many clients do it, and it's such a no brainer. Like there's like barely any recovery. It's like it's just super easy, but it makes like the world of difference. And especially if you're somebody where people are always like, "Are you tired?" And it's like, "No,
Yeah.
I have bags," you know?
You're like, no, I slept 12 hours last night, but thanks.
Exactly, exactly. So
It's
yes.
okay. That's a good tip too. Now, for the midlife women, what are like the three most effective things that you think somebody could do to just reset their skin?
So I will take a different angle on this. I think I'll take it as reset their look. And people focus so much on, oh my God, I have these lines around my eyes and I'm getting this and this and this and this and this. And they have the magnifying mirror, all the things. But when people don't hyper focus on your brown spot or your fine line, they don't, right? But people look at the whole package. How do you present yourself? So, one of the things that I always recommend women to do in midlife is say to yourself, okay, when was the last time I changed my hairstyle? Like, when was the last time I did that, right? More than likely, I mean, and that's the thing, we're creatures of habit, and more than likely, we're doing the same thing, cutting, oh, just a trim, just whatever, whatever. One of my girlfriends actually just got extensions yesterday because I urged her to, not for length, but for thickness.
That's a good point.
So her hair looks exactly the same, but she just threw in a couple because I've been urging her to because she's like, I'm losing all this hair. I'm like, great, throw some tape ins in. Like you're not going to damage your hair. But all of a sudden now she has like, a little volume that she had 15 years ago or whatever. So anyway, but it's like, have you been having the same hairstyle forever, same hair color? Maybe it's time to zhuzh it up, right? Whenever, so I always tell people, yeah, go change up your hair a little bit, do something a little, but they're so scared. Like, God forbid you go for something more than a trim. It's like, oh my gosh, no, just take off this much. Like, people just, we just become creatures of habits. Then your makeup. When was the last time you sat down, had a makeup artist redo your whole look? And this is what I always say: toss your makeup, throw it out. More than likely, you have had those lipsticks for years, those eye pencils for years, all the things. Toss it out. And what you do is you go to wherever you buy your makeup and just say, I would like a new look. Ideally, you hire a true makeup artist rather than just going to Ulta or Sephora or whatever. But not to say they don't have makeup artists, but somebody that, I mean, a lot of those people, they just started working there a week ago or something. Or, like you want like somebody who really is trained in makeup. That's their expertise. But basically, you say to them, I'm just going to zip it. I want you to do my makeup. I'm not giving any input. I'm not going to go, oh my God, it's too much. Because anything that's different than how you normally wear it, you're not going to feel comfortable with it anyway. But it's time to get out of our comfort zone. So sit down in the chair, don't give any commentary. And you say to the artist, you're the artist. This is what you do for a living. I would like you to do my makeup and you tell me what looks best. And more than likely, you're going to look in the mirror afterwards and you're going to go, wow, yeah, it's different. But just because it's different doesn't mean it's not good. Right. And so it's time to like just change it up. We've all been wearing the same lip color for years. We have that same blush. I switched to a bunch of cream blushes. I always did the old powder blush for years because that's what we had. And now I'm obsessed with cream blush now. Now you have to be careful, wash it off at night really well because it can clog your pores, some of the formulas. But anyway, and then when it comes to clothes, right? If I look in your closet, Roxy, and more than likely you have a certain style, you have the certain type of shirts, tops, blouses, pants, shoes. They're all like more or less the same thing with a different pattern, a little bit different, but we like what we like, right? So what I do is I'll go into Nordstrom or something. And I always like to go to the juniors department, right? Because, I want to look a little, young and youthful. I want to be, appropriate. And, but I will basically, I'll go find the person who I like their style, who looks like they have style. And I'll go up to them and I'll say, listen, I'm in my 50s and I don't want to look like a teeny bopper or be inappropriate, but I would like you to style me. You work here. I'm going to let you style me. I'm not going to don't ask me, oh, well, do you like this? Are there certain colors you like? Do you want, are we talking skirt? I go, I'm not saying anything. You tell me what looks good on me. Now you can hire a stylist as well, right? That will do this. But a lot of times if I just want something quick at Nordstrom, I'll let them do it. And guess what happened? Just like with the makeup, I'll try it on. I'll go, it's definitely different. But again, different doesn't mean it's bad. It's bad. Different is just because I'm out of my comfort zone. But guess what? I trust them. Now, if it's something like I'm like, listen, no, I'm not wearing this. But don't be afraid to get out of your comfort zone. And I'm telling you, you change your hairstyle, you change your makeup, you change your clothes, and change is good. And you walk into a room and people are like, wow, girl, what have you been doing? Like, wow, because it's different. People are so used to seeing same old, same old, same old on you, and surprise them, show them that, you can get out of your comfort zone. So I really think that it's the full package. How do you carry yourself, right? How do you smile? Like, are you just kind of, oh no, like scared and, oh, I could never wear that color lipstick or, just like, so I just think that, and then what happens is you'll start to get all this positive feedback, right? People are going to be like, oh my God, Roxy, your hair looks amazing. And wow, I've never seen you wear that color before on your lips, or look at that outfit, girl, you're styling. And then all of a sudden you get all this positive reinforcement. And that's like, and then you smile, you walk taller, you feel more confident, and then, add an amazing Renée Rouleau skincare routine and like good to go in this life.
Yeah. Oh my God. I love that idea of putting yourself out of your comfort zone because I think that that's really how growth and change happens.
Yes. In everything in our lives, it's time to move to a new state, new makeup, do all the things, like change it up.
Yes. Change it up for sure. Okay. So, what advice would you give to your 25-year-old self?
From like skin.
Anything.
Oh, well, from skin, that's an easy one. I wouldn't have picked at my skin as much because when I found out there was a profession where people would actually pay me to pick at their skin, I was like, oh, this is my career. I love skin picking and I'll actually make a career out of this. Sign me up. But I was appropriate on other people's skin for sure. But like on my own, I was like, my hands are licensed. I know what I'm doing as I have like blood dripping down my face because I totally picked at something. So I wouldn't be such a skin picker. And I eventually did give it up as a New Year's resolution. And on our website, on my blog, I have a no picking skin contract and tons of blog posts. So anyone listening to this or watching this, if you're a skin picker, come see me. I'll get you all sorted because it's a thing. It's a thing. I would I would have lived bigger. I live really big now. And when I say big, not not money related. Yeah, but just like I so for my 51st birthday, I rented out a room at Soho House, the movie theater at Soho House in Austin, and I had everyone come in their PJs, and it was guys and girls, and I had it all outfitted with candy and popcorn, just like you're at the movie theater. And I had to decide what movie I was going to play, right? And I chose the movie Yes Man with Jim Carrey. Do you remember that movie from a long time ago? The concept of the movie Yes Man is basically this guy that lives small in his comfort zone and says no to everything. And then he goes under a spell and he's forced to say yes. And so he's down for anything. and he says yes to everything. And his life is so much richer because he has all these amazing experiences. So I always tell everyone once a year, mandatory movie watching is Yes Man, because how often are you saying no to things? No, I'm too tired. No, I'm too old for that. No, I can't. I haven't danced in years. I'm too old for that. Right. But yeah, it's time to say yes. So watch the movie Yes Man by Jim Carrey.
Oh, that's so good. Okay. Definitely more yeses. And how are you living iconically?
Oh my gosh, how am I living iconically? Yeah, I mean, just what's coming to mind is saying yes more, but traveling more. I think the big thing, this is how I'll say iconically. So I have learned that an airplane is like a car. I treat an airplane like a car. We always feel like traveling on a plane is somehow some huge deal, but like, and you have to book things well in advance. Like I I book last minute trips. Like sometimes I'll just have a wild hair and go visit somebody, kind of last minute. Me and my boyfriend, we went, because I'm a widow now, but me and my boyfriend, we went to Paris for 24 hours and just for fun. And we're just like 24. And people are like, why would you stay longer? I'm like, because it's super fun just to go for 24 hours. And like I know how to, I don't do jet lag. I have a whole strategy for that. But yeah, and like I'll just like literally, if sometimes like with some girlfriends, I'll literally fly to them, have dinner and turn around and go home. Like just like, so I think that's kind of how it is like really being spur of the moment and not letting distance or aggravation of travel deter me from doing something.
Well, Renee, you have given us so many great facts about skincare, so much great knowledge. I'm excited to like employ a lot of the techniques you've said. So I just want you to tell everybody where they can find you.
ReneeRouleau.com. Take my skin type quiz because it's important, regardless whether or not you use my products. You need to learn about your skin type. And so I highly recommend you really, you know, understand your skin type and don't always just follow what everyone else says. You need to learn what your skin needs and consult an esthetician. But yeah, ReneeRouleau.com and Renee Rouleau or Renee Rouleau Skincare on all the socials.
Great. Well, thank you so much for coming on the Iconic Midlife. And we actually have a surprise for the audience because we're not done with you yet. You're coming back next week.
Sure am. Part two.
Yes, a lot more to talk about. A lot of things on your personal side, the personal side of your life that have gone on.
Yes. So let me give a little context just for everyone. So, yes, I am a 35 plus year celebrity esthetician. So I have a lot of expertise, but I also have expertise on the dating world. And essentially, what happened was I was with my husband for 22 years, and he passed away 7 years ago from a short battle with cancer. Rest in peace. And so I started a whole new life, right? I had a life, he was my COO of my company. He was my partner in life. And it was, now I was by myself and it was, I'd run the company by myself. And obviously not having him by my side was heartbreaking. And so I had to start a new life for myself. And he said when he was sick, he wanted me to date, and why wouldn't he? And wanted me to find love again, and so I did. And let's just say that I built a multi-million-dollar company and have been successful in business. But right out of the gate, I was not successful in dating. And I had to learn a lot of lessons. And I basically said, okay, well, I'm successful in business, not in dating. So what should I do? I decided to treat my dating life like a business because I knew I was good in business. So I treated my dating life like a business, spreadsheets and all, and it's worked very beautifully for me. But I've learned a lot and a lot of tips and tricks, and so yeah, happy to share some of what I've learned.
Yes, and there's been a lot of like ups and downs and unexpected turns and twists, let's just say.
Yes,
Yes.
let's just say.
So you guys will have to come back next week so you can hear all about it, and you will not be upset that you came back. Let me just put it that way. So,
Yes. No, I actually like my side hustle is like, talking to girlfriends and like everyone, would you talk to my friend and talk to her? And so at some point I have to so this will be my first time talking about it on a podcast. But kind of in my next career, if I was going to have one, I would be probably a professional matchmaker and a dating consultant because it's so much fun and I've just learned so much. And I mean, not that it's my way or the highway, there's a lot of people out there, but I think my perspective is a little unique and it's worked for me. So there you go.
oh my gosh, well, we can't wait to hear it. So guys, tune in next week. It's juicy. Midlife skin isn't something to hide or fight. It's something we get to understand, support, and glow through. If this episode gave you any aha moments, please subscribe, rate, and leave a review on your favorite podcast app. And share it with a friend who's Googling serums at midnight. And come back next week because Renee is returning to share her wild, wild story of how she went from grieving widow to finding love again after navigating the ups and downs of the dating world. Trust me, you do not want to miss it. Follow us on social media at the Iconic Midlife and me, Red Carpet Roxy, for behind the scenes clips and skin tips from today's show.